don't forget that.
Is anybody in touch with Clara at the moment?
Let's see, I've got people emailing me. What's happening? Here's Clara. Please resend the original link. Okay, hang on. Oh, where's the original link? Does someone have the original link
Yep, I'll
handy?
forward it to her right now.
Okay,
Yeah, I
thanks.
just texted it to her. If you click
Yeah,
on the at the bottom participants
yeah,
copy invite link, that
okay.
sends people the right place.
I'll
Invite.
try and get the link into the chat, so anybody who gets text, we can just send the
We
link.
don't, the chat's not functional on these meetings, sorry.
My apologies.
Yeah, no, it's a town.
But that way we can't spam it.
Sean, it's a good thing you sent me your new email. Oh, goodness. Okay, here's Clara.
Y'all back? Sorry about that.
Sorry, that's and I'm gonna go put it on.
Okay, so
And the recording is going, so
Cool.
please continue. I apologize.
Clara, can I
Thank
make
you.
a recommendation that we just restart? Just because we have other individuals from the public here now as well. Like we just want to
Sure.
start from the top.
Sure.
Right.
I'm happy to. So we approved I'll just say we approved the meeting minutes from our May meeting. We're not going to vote on that again. They're on, they're on the town website if you have any issues. If anybody has a comment about them, they can raise their hand now. None of the commission, we made one edit on the bottom of the third page from hardscape to greenscape. Okay, then we asked for public comment on items that were not on the agenda, or if they're on the agenda, but they don't have any public comment listed, you can raise those issues now. So does anyone want to raise their hand about and comment on something that's not on our agenda or that's on the agenda but doesn't have public comment listed? Okay, seeing none, we will move on.
Janice Khan has her hand up, Clara.
Who's that?
Janice Khan.
Oh, yes. Okay. Thank you for pointing that out. Hi, Janice. What's
Hi, Clara. I have a question about the blue bikes. I know that the plan includes some blue bike spaces in Chestnut Hill, and we have very few on-street parking spaces as it is. So it's just, I don't know if that's exactly, I know blue bikes was on your agenda.
It is the next, it was presented last time. We're gonna have a review of it. There's a letter about Warren Field, review and vote. So there is no public comment. So go ahead and make your,
Right, so
go ahead
I
and
know-
make your comment.
I know that I did see a plan to to take some parking spaces in Chestnut Hill and I believe Hammond Street area and turn them into blue bike spaces. And I just want to say that our commercial area is really stressed out as it is with very little on-street parking. And I'm hoping that if there are blue bike spaces that are added to this area, that they are put in places that don't actually take up parking spaces in the area. So, I mean,
So
school
I'll-
recreation, it would be a possibility, for instance, but maybe even where the Baldwin School is, I don't know if there's space there or something to consider. But I really hope that we don't take any of the very few parking spaces that exist out of us. Yeah.
Thank you, Janice. Sean Lynn Jones has his hand up, and then I'm gonna ask Sam to address your
respond
question. Pardon me?
After I can respond whenever you'd like.
I'll let Sean, maybe you can answer too. Maybe Sean just wants to make a comment. I don't know. Sean, why don't you go and then I'll ask you to respond to both Janice and Sean.
Well, Sean Lynn Jones, President, Brookline Green Space Alliance and town meeting member from Precinct 1. I'll be very concise because I think some of the members of the commission are aware of this concern, but I'm just generally concerned whenever green space, especially in a park, is taken for another purpose. And that seemed, although I missed the meeting, to be a focus of the discussion last time around. And I'll just reiterate that I share that concern. And I know you're going to be voting on a couple of issues where this may happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. So Sam, can you comment on or respond to Janice and
for the
Sean?
record, it's Janice Kahn, town meeting member, precinct 15. Thank you.
Thank you for adding that.
Yeah, I'd be happy to answer Janice's question. I believe this was the same location that Jane had questions about at the last meeting. So this is an old presentation on the fly. I couldn't pull up the new presentation, but the location that I believe you're talking about is on Hammond Street, right across from the gas station. Hopefully you all can see my screen.
Yes.
So
Can
I
you
just
make each slide bigger? Now we just see all the running slides.
Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to zoom in. My computer's like feeling a little overworked, I guess, right now. It's not zooming in, so I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm trying. How about that? It's a little better.
That's better. That's better.
Great. So as I had relayed to Jane during the last meeting, the revision from the transportation board was that we're actually only taking up 2 parking spaces at this location, not 3. This is directly adjacent to the parking lot in front of the grocery store and the other shopping businesses here north of Route 9. We looked at the meter data from these parking spaces, and these final 2 parking spaces were almost never used just because there's free parking right across the street. And ultimately, the transportation board did vote to install a station here. We are utilizing locations like Sewell Recreation Center as a future expansion location as part of the Heath and Sheaf development. Their mitigation is to add a blue bike station to Sewell Rec. But just as part of the network, this location was ultimately voted and approved, but it's only 2 parking spaces, not 3. So I'm sorry, I can't speak any more to this, but we did try to find locations across town that had the fewest parking impacts as possible, and so we are trading 2 parking spaces for 15 bikes here.
Can I do a follow-up question? So I'm not exactly sure who exactly is going to use these blue bike spaces and who you anticipate will be using them. It's kind of an odd location, honestly, for blue bikes.
Well, it's close to the green line. Like, we're not able to put them immediately at the MBTA location, but we put them within a couple minute stop of the Green Line. We also put it near commercial businesses. There's also the tennis area here. So, I mean, we see a lot of use in people who are coming from commercial areas, and it's a network, so it requires other nearby stations, and that's what we'll get when we have Sewell Recreation Center. We're also working really closely with Newton, who is only a couple 100 feet away from this, the border here. So Newton has stations. So connecting people from Newton to these businesses is important too. So it's when I get in my slideshow, I can show the zoomed out vision.
Thank you, Sam. So would you like to start your presentation now? I guess you're going to
Sure.
speak to
Sam,
the old
Sam,
one.
Sam, can I just raise a question that I think you answered for me last time that I didn't hear this time? That what we're voting on at Park and Rec is actually the green space oriented or the park oriented spaces, as opposed to the transportation already approved spaces. And so something like the Hammond Street spaces would need to go, at least I think I heard you say this, would need to go to the transportation board in order to sort of say, we have a problem with where this might be going, but it would be a different process, slightly different process, and that it would go to the transportation board, not Park and Rec. Am I correct in saying that?
Jane, you are 100% correct. Janice, if you have very strong reservations, I'm happy to have a conversation offline with you. I would just say from a purely technicality standpoint, this did go through a public process and was already voted on by the transportation board back in March.
Mhm.
So we are past the select board appeal period technically, but I'm happy to work with you. This is a station that's not planned for 3 years, 2.5, maybe 2 years. So we're a little ways out there, but happy to connect.
Okay,
Yeah, I
thanks
just
very
think it's
much,
important.
Sam.
I think it's important that Janice and others that might be on the call listening know that this is really not what we're voting on tonight. We're voting on the green space oriented or the park oriented space ones or green space oriented ones. So I just think it's important to know that it's great you're here and giving that opinion, but it might not be the right
Venue,
place.
yeah.
Right.
Correct.
I'll reach out to you privately. Thank you.
Yeah, so with that, I'll go right in. I'm going to skip through quickly because this is a similar presentation that I gave last time. Just a quick reminder for people about the Blue Bike system.
Sam, let me just, when you show a slide, that we will be voting on that location. Will you just point that out?
I absolutely will.
Thank you.
Of course. So the Blue Bike system in the last 6 years has seen over 22 million rides across the greater Boston area. Brookline currently owns 13 stations, but we've been approved through the Transportation Board to add an additional 22. And then the final 3 remaining ones are what we'll be discussing tonight, which are in the purview of the Park and Rec Commission. The town does own this system. So here's an overview of the current network, and you can see how concentrated it is in North Brookline. I didn't even bother showing South Brookline. But on average, we see about 120,000 trips per year taken within Brookline. So it's a really key transportation part of our transportation network. So bear with me on the colors. It's all around density, but you can see that as part of this expansion plan, we are adding a number of stations over the next 5 years in both North Brookline, expanding into South Brookline. I mentioned Newton. We're working closely with Newton. We're also working closely with Boston and West Roxbury, who are planning added stations that will make a meaningful connection between West Roxbury and South Brookline. And so, as I discussed last time, there are 3 locations that we're going to talk about. The first was Lars Anderson. Generally, just based off the conversation that we had last time, conversations with the tree warden, internal at the parks, and snow operations. I'm sorry I didn't shift the orange square over, but I made a promise, and I will keep that to someone on this commission from last time, that the Blue Bike station itself will be pushed as close, as far away from the tree and right up against the parking lot as possible. The layout of the station might even be able to be reduced. It just depends on when we get out there. But this will generally be where the station would be located, offering people the ability to use a Blue Bike to get to Lars Anderson. So this is one of the locations. Clara, do you want me to go over all three or like go one by one?
What do you mean all three, one by one?
Like, do you want to stop and have a conversation about this, or would you like me to go through all three and then have a
Go
conversation?
all three and then you'll have to go back and we'll talk. Let's
Of
look at all
course.
three and then go back.
Of course. So that was location one at Lars Anderson. Location two. So after our conversation last time, I worked with Mealy and her team, and we after much deliberation, we determined that the most suitable location for a blue bike station in the vicinity of the reservoir would be as shown below. It would be constructed in a concrete pad, approximately 30 feet wide, or 30 feet long and 6 feet wide. So a little bit a little bit longer than this parking space. So the red square is on the right image is should be basically between the two parking signs, but it will be an additional 6 feet back off the back of sidewalk, so there won't be conflicts between the bikes and the people walking. They won't be undocking into the sidewalk. So this is location two that we revised based off of the conversations last time. And then the third location also worked closely with Linda Roseman, Tim Davis, and Brad Verder, who had reached out last time. We had a long email exchange back and forth about identifying the best location near Warren Playground. And ultimately, it was agreed upon by all parties that the best location would actually be on the back of sidewalk off of Chestnut Hill Avenue to connect to Warren Playground. And so that is the third and final location that we are proposing within the purview of the Park and Rec Commission. So happy to answer any questions, can go to any of the three slides and discuss them prior to any votes.
I see Carol has her hand up. I'm just going to ask one quick question on the reservoir. Although the photograph makes it look very flat, if you go back to the reservoir, there is a little hill there. Are you going to need a little retaining wall when you cut 6 feet back, or can you adjust the grade without a retaining wall?
Yeah, we won't need a retaining wall. We only need to go down about 4 to 5 inches for the concrete for the base. And so
I'm talking about the slope. I don't
Yeah.
know the depth of it. The slope of the added 6 feet. I mean, you don't want more than a 2% cross slope. So can you get it, or do you have to grade into the hill, or you have to build a small curb or something?
We will be able to adjust the depth of the
Hill?
concrete, the hill. Yeah,
Okay.
very minor, very minor.
Okay, thanks. Carol?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a couple of questions. The slide that's on the screen now, I want to know, is that at the 51 bus stop?
It's around the corner from the 51 bus stop. The 51 bus stop, if you can see my cursor, I can try to draw like a little, the 51 bus stop's over here.
Okay.
And so it's to make a connection to the bus stop and the reservoir.
Okay, I have another question on the reservoir. Last time we talked about looking at the corner of Warren and Route 9 as a possibility.
Correct. And I was very graciously reminded of the historical significance of that area and the chaos, I guess, of the intersection. And so I was informed that if we were interested in putting a station over there, given the gatehouse and the area over there, that it would not make it very far. So I was just told that it was not a good option.
Even though the MBTA has a bus stop right there.
Correct. But just having two roads directly adjacent to them, both Warren Street and Route 9 being not exactly bike friendly, would versus Dudley Way, which has a designated bike path on it, and any possible Lee and Clyde is a future project for us,
But
hopefully.
doesn't the Dudley Way connect up as a safe bike route for kids going to the high school? So
So
they
many
must
of-
go down Warren.
Well, some of them will continue on down towards Cypress. They'll take, sorry, you're testing my road knowledge here, but at the triangle, they would actually go towards the Kennard School and stay on the south side of Route 9 before cutting left on Cypress Street. So they would take Dudley Way to Warren and then stay right at the triangle and continue down to,
Oh, I see. You're gonna go down. Okay, okay.
yeah,
Walnut,
sorry.
you're gonna go down
Walnut, thank you. There's too many
Yeah.
W's.
Okay.
Yeah.
I doubt that they will do that, but it's a nice idea. The other is the first slide. I just want to be could you please tell me what is this white strip where the crossing is? Is that a building or what is it?
White strip.
There's a white right there. You're there. You're there. What is that?
Oh, that's the sidewalk.
And that's not a good place?
Like, are you saying like construct it like right
Here,
here?
so it doesn't interfere with the trees or the lawn.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I'd be open to that if the commission would, like, if there's any reason this can't be constructed, I don't see a reason why it couldn't be constructed there. The only thing would be if there was some sort of like manhole structure, something that related to, you know, utilities, that it couldn't go there. But I'm happy to place it there if that's I'll measure it quickly on my screen that you guys can't see.
Okay. Okay, those are my questions. Thanks.
Yeah, of course.
Jane, you want to go next?
I think Debbie Hatz is up next. I think. Debbie, you have your hand up? It's hard to see.
Yes.
Okay.
I
I
had
want
a
to cut you
question.
off.
Thank you. I had a question about the reservoir, back to slide, I think it's slide 2. So one concern I have, it looks like the handicap parking is right there. Is that a problem there? Where, if somebody's trying to get out with a wheelchair or anything like that? That was one. The other thing is that I also thought about the Route 9, putting it on Route 9, and I heard what you said, that they said, I don't know who they is, that it couldn't go there. So if you're getting a bike from that spot, if you go up Dudley Way and, I've been part of this, talking about this area and thinking the kids are going to get off and walk and cross the street. If you go up that way, you're going to end up on Route 9. If you go the other way to the, and head out on Dudley Way and get onto Lee, and if you took a right, you'd end up on Route 9. If you the only other option is the left, like you're going to Clyde to Lee, Lee to Clyde. So no matter, 2 out of the 3 ways that you're going to go are going to lead you to Route 9. So that area is taking up, some green space, and it's in front of a handicap spot. So, I don't know. I will ask again, what are the reasons why you couldn't put them on Route 9? Because inevitably, whoever's taking that bike is probably going to end up going to Route 9, unless they're going south.
So I agree that they'll end up crossing Route 9, but as we were just discussing, like, if someone takes Dudley Way to Walnut Street and then continues on Walnut Street, we're just based off of being out there and observing, many people are crossing Cypress Street to get to the high school. I understand that some may choose to take Warren Street across Sumner Road. But we've just seen that more people are likely to continue down the hill on Walnut Street, take Cypress Street right over to the high school. So they would be crossing Route 9. And then similarly, if you did take Lee Street, you'd be crossing Chestnut Hill Avenue, and Chestnut Hill Avenue, if the commission chooses to put the station in on Warren Field as well, that someone could take a bike from Warren Field over to the reservoir. They could then continue along Lee and Dudley and take it down to Newton Street and be at Lars Anderson. So it's just like, these are just connections, like short connections. You try to have them like a quarter mile apart, quarter to a half mile apart. So that way, if one station was full, you wouldn't have to walk too far to dock a bike. So that's kind of like, again, the big picture, like, zooming out a little bit about like trying to make connections between these places that everyone wants to visit, and public transit. But in terms of the accessible parking space, like this will be built off the back of the sidewalk, so no one would be like undocking a bike in the space of someone who's trying to get out of their accessible parking space. The two will not conflict, just in terms of space. And Carol, sorry, to pivot back to your question about why we didn't choose the other location that we marked out. I'm seeing that there's quite a lovely planting bed on Google Street View. And so the space doesn't look quite like, we would have to, I don't really want to impede on what is a very lovely planting bed.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I can't physically go into Lars Anderson with Google Street View, but yeah, those are some really pretty plants that I wouldn't want to hurt anyway.
It's just this one piece of sidewalk. It's really very weird.
Yeah, it does connect to the other, the other side, and the sidewalk that continues on the other side of Goddard Street. But I agree. That way someone can cross right here into the park. Anyways, hopefully that answered
Yes, thank
question.
you.
Yeah, of course.
Debbie and Carol, your questions have both been, concerns and questions have been presented.
I just
So-
have one more.
Questions. They were answered. I mean, I'm not saying I like the answers, but they were answered.
Okay.
The
I
only
just
other
wanna make
question
sure you've gotten to ask your questions.
Yes.
Okay. So Debbie, and I know Debbie has another question.
Yeah, the only other question I just thought of was at the Lars Anderson, there wouldn't be any room like next to the bathrooms there, like next to does it have to be like, I'm trying to visualize that area between the office and the back, like that it couldn't go there so that it wouldn't take up any green space. So, I'm assuming you went there and you looked and that these were the best spots, but I just thought of that.
Yeah, we did look at near the bathrooms, and there's obviously a lot of traffic, like foot traffic that goes in that way. And in terms of like, one of the concerns that, we don't want people biking through the parks.
Yeah.
So just to like kind of keep it at like the entrance and exit would further encourage like to not have people bike in
Yeah, I
the
get
parks,
it.
if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I see 3 hands up. I know Jane was next. And so after Jane, I don't know, Sean or Michael put their hand up first, but since Michael hasn't spoken, we'll go Jane, Michael, Sean. So Jane, go ahead.
Well, first I'm going to say the good news. I'm really glad about the area over by Warren Playfield because I know that involved key players in that area, Linda Roseman and Bradford. And I think that's what I like. I'm just going to say that, Sam. The other ones I still struggle with because they are taking up green space, and especially that one that's by the reservoir really feels like the entrance to the reservoir, and it just feels very, as Antonia Bialta pointed out, like it's kind of this very peaceful looking entrance, and then it's going to be this kind of not so peaceful look to it. But again, it is taking up green space, and it's the same way I do feel about Laz. So I don't think there's any questions for you to answer because I'm assuming you have looked at everything. I was really hoping that where the bus stops on Route 9, where there's already a bus station, it could really kind of be teamed up with that. But you're saying it can't be, and I appreciate that perspective, but I don't like Carol, like us, Carol, excuse me, Carol. I don't like the answer. So I just want to say that. My question to you is a little different, though. Sometimes we put these things in place, like blue bikes and EV stations and whatnot, and then we really don't hear back like what the evaluation was, how much they were used, how much, um, they're really working in any given area. And I'm wondering, as a part of this process, is that something that we can hear back about? Because I do think it would be great for us to know, with this skepticism, and it would be great to know, oh my glory, these were used so much, we actually need more, or you know what, we probably put too many in the wrong places, or we need to readjust where we put them, or whatever it might be. And I really would love to know if there's any plan for that sort of evaluation so that we can really not just do this as a one-off and have us all hold our nose with whatever it might be, but actually can evaluate it down the road to say, this was fantastic, or we need to readjust.
Yeah, I'd be happy to come back. We get really good data from Lyft, who's who manages the network. So I can tell you, I can tell you on any scale you wanted of like how many rides each station, has in a given year. Like I can tell you that Coolidge Corner, there are over 15,000 rides taken from that one station. Of course, Lars Anderson isn't going to be the same, but I can tell you how many rides after its first year it had. I can even tell you where people are coming from who are using that station. Are they coming from West Roxbury? Are they coming from closer to Route 9? Are they coming from North Brookline? Are they taking a really long bike trip all the way down so they can actually go to Lars Anderson for people who don't have cars? So that's something I'd be happy to follow up with after the station gets installed. This is Lars. Lars is actually, if the commission approves it, Lars would be one of the next station, like one of the near-term stations that would go in this year. Of course, if the commission doesn't approve it, then it will not go in this year, or at all. But it would be one that you would see sooner rather than later at Lars, and I'd be happy to share that data. First couple of months won't be great, but over time, really hope
I just think it's good to hear that feedback. So it just keeps us up to date with what's working, what's not in the town. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, of
Thank
course.
you.
Okay, thank you, Jane and Sam. And so Michael, do you want to go next?
Sure. Yeah, I just had a couple of questions. I was wondering about the one at Lars. Like, I don't know how far along you are with it yet, but like what the connection would be to the parking lot. Like, would it be a smooth concrete transition that you can bike up straight to the station?
Yeah, the constructability, we could either, I don't know, I'll just like draw it out a little bit if that's easier, but like it could be better to do something like this where it's all like right up along the asphalt, and so that way there's like obviously no grass, and that also would also be the furthest away from the tree. So we're not planning to put anything directly under the tree, even though I didn't move the orange square down enough. But it would basically be like one of these two layouts if you're okay with overlapping red squares. And so the point would be that there would be no disconnect between the asphalt and the concrete of where the pad would be. But we are talking about 11 docks here, which translates to, I think it's 25 feet. So it's like 25 feet by 6 feet. So it's like 150 square feet that we're talking about, which is actually less than a parking space of area.
Cool. And then my other question was about Warren Playground, that station. Does it have a curb cut nearby, or would you add a curb cut if there's not one?
So it doesn't have a formal curb cut, but this road has asphalt berms along the majority of it. So
okay.
It's like a tiny little bump. But Chestnut Hill Avenue, sure everyone's heard about Chestnut Hill Avenue, but it is a road that's going to be repaved next year. I'm not sure what it's going to look like yet. It's still up for discussion by the transportation board, but I think that as part of that work, we could potentially include a small curb cut that wouldn't create any puddling to get up to the station. I'm not sure what the entrance. I'll pull it up while I answer the next questions. That's a good question.
Thank you.
Michael, you have any more questions?
No, I'm all set.
Thank you. Sean, and then we'll go to Rory.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to answer a question, which really was prompted by some of the previous questions about the placement at Lars Anderson Park. First, I assume there's that lonely stretch of sidewalk because it's basically a desire line for pedestrians who cross at the crosswalk and are heading into the park. And there doesn't seem to be any other sidewalk, but that would get foot traffic as people walk across Goddard Ave, right? And then into the park. Is that the whole purpose of that short stretch that stands out by being so light and gray?
Yeah, it's just because it's concrete and the sidewalk on the other side is majority asphalt.
Right. But for much of that stretch of Goddard, there's no sidewalk at all on that side.
Right.
There's a bike lane and then a grass. Well, it's not really a
Correct.
tree
Yeah, just
lawn. So my question is, I understand, why it wouldn't make sense to put it between that stretch of sidewalk and the planted area. And your, image made it very clear. My image isn't quite as good that I'm looking at from Google Maps here, but I can definitely see that as a problem. So my question would be, would it make sense to consider putting the Blue Bike Station on the, well, more or less the northeast side of that stretch of sidewalk along Goddard Ave? You might have to relocate the fence. There's just a stretch of lawn there, as far as I can tell, next to the existing bike lane. Maybe there's some reason why it wouldn't be a good place, but it would seem to me having it right next to the bike lane is very convenient for people to pull in and out. So I just wanted to suggest that. And maybe it's not so bad where it is, but I wondered where you're thinking of moving it on the basis of the last image you showed of the red lines moving around. But is it a good idea to have the bicyclists go through the parking lot to get to the station? Or is it better to have it be right next to the bike lane on Goddard Ave where they have easy access in and out? People in parking lots often don't look where they're going, and having bicycles, coming off and in might be an issue. I don't know whether that's a safety concern. I just wanted to raise that other location very near the sidewalk to see if it had been considered at all.
I mean, the fence, I don't know the historical significance of the fence. I would have to defer to someone else on this topic. I believe that the area you're talking about, were you talking about?
Are you going back to your?
No, I'm going back to yours. Are you talking about this
an
area?
image now because I'm on gallery view and I could switch.
Oh, all right. Well, basically around the corner from where we were discussing, you're talking about, I mean, I see a sewer manhole, but I mean, this fence would have to be moved back 6 feet to accommodate. This would kind of be a merger of the idea with Carroll, where we would essentially need to construct along this whole fence line. It's an option. If the commission wanted it to be there, I'm only seeing one sewer structure. I'd need to know where the sewer line goes from here to make sure that we're not constructing, a pad that's like directly on top of the sewer line, but it could work.
And the area, between the lawn and the white line is a demarcated bike lane, right?
This is correct. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to mention that because it seemed to be a logical, progression from the previous, option discussion.
Yeah, I think it was just about getting bikes off the road into a parking lot is typically calmer than Goddard Ave. I mean, I'm a cyclist, but it's as drivers, you know how fast people drive on Goddard Ave. And so to get people off of Goddard Ave as soon as possible is safer.
But, thank you, Sam. So Debbie, I think your hand's up again, but I was gonna call on Rory first. Is your hand's hard to see because it's against a yellow wall or something. I can't, but anyway, did you raise your hand again, Deb?
I did, yes. but
Okay, so we'll-
I'll wait till Rory's done, yep.
Okay, so we'll go to Rory next.
I might be giving us all a bit of a bad idea here, but by bringing these bikes to Lars, we are sort of creating the conditions for a very fun little ski hill with mountain bikes. I definitely used to meet up buddies from the neighborhood at the top of Lars with our bikes, and we would plunge down that hill. We weren't supposed to, and if you trashed your bike, that was the last time you got to do it. But these bikes, are very easy to rent. I can totally imagine me as a kid if I mean, it would be like candy, and you could just rent the bike, send it down the hill, bike it back, and if you trash it, it's not yours, you run away. So I guess I'm wondering, is there a system of, making sure that the bikes are returned, in good quality?
Yeah, you
And then
get,
also there
well,
might be an issue there with the,
you have to be 16 to rent. So I don't know about the
Okay.
prefrontal cortex development of 16-year-olds, but assuming they make good judgments, they also would have to pay the full cost of the bike if it is not returned or damaged. So that's a quick $1,600 that
okay.
would hurt someone. So yeah, there's a credit card linked to every bike. So
So whatever, it's just, Rory, in case you haven't ridden a blue bike, you have to register and then insert your credit card, and then they know who took it. They're also extremely heavy. They're not, I've ridden them. They're not like a bike you'd have. They're not that much fun to get up a hill.
they're
unless-
durable.
They're very durable. So they're not really fun bikes, to go, yeah, if you got it up the hill, I guess you could go zooming down, but they're not really lighter bikes, or not even like, off-road bikes. They're not, they wouldn't be that much fun on that hill as much as your own bike. Don't you agree, Sam? They're a little
I
heavy.
agree. They are.
And they're geared not to go very fast. So just so you
They're
know.
not.
Debbie, and then we'll go to Carol and back to Jane.
Yeah, so now I'm thinking about Lars. I live right across the street from there, and it's really crowded on the weekends. And that space that you're, the space that you're putting, so that's right next to the exit, right? So that's, yep, the exit. So, I mean, cars, I just feel like getting those bikes out of there right on into the driveway, because it is chaos there when the park is full. So, and I'm just wondering if you looked at all the other side where the entrance is, and maybe a parking space there. I mean, I know parking there is valuable, the spaces are valuable, but if you're saying that it takes up less than one space, if you're driving into the entrance, to the right is where the spaces are marked on the other side. So
I mean, if the commission is interested in giving up a parking space, it's within your purview to do it. Our goal of setting out with this was to limit the number of parking spaces taken. So if the
no,
commission
not up
wants,
there, not up there, to the right of there, before you get to the entrance.
oh, but there needs to be emergency access. Like, this is an emergency access point for, like, right? This is where the bathrooms are, over on the right hand side, all the pavilions. So like, the DPW trucks need to get in and out of this location to
Yeah, but if you-
service the.
If you keep going down towards Newton Street,
Are you talking about down here?
yep, keep going down Goddard, yes, over there. Where those two cars in the front are, like, by the stairs walking up,
Yeah,
right where those two cars are?
if the commission's willing to give, I mean, I'd imagine that these parking spaces are within the park's purview. If this is, again, I will defer to the commission on, like, this was, our goal was to reduce, taking away parking spaces given
Yeah.
the users. So I listen to the public. Public loves parking spaces. So I will defer.
Debbie, I just want to point out, the bikes could fit in there, but they'd have to be able to back out. So you have to have maneuverability. So in the space between the wall and the line, the first white line that's close to what, that's where the bikes would be. But then you couldn't have a parking space in front of them because you'd have to pull your back your bike out.
I
Or
would say it would take
dock it.
It would take two spaces. It would be basically from the end of the wall to approximately the sunroof of the minivan here. That would be the space. That would be the space needed. So it would be this one. It looks old, but it looks like these are demarcation marks. So it looks like one parking space, two parking spaces. So the station could go between the wall and the white line. And as Clara said, there's a backup space needed. And so it would be a total of 6 feet. So if the commission wants to see them in those two parking spaces, I'd happily put it there.
I just really am nervous about it up where you have it. One, that area seems very small where the tree is. I don't know how you move it that far away from the tree. It will be, I think the tree, I don't know how it can be not under the tree.
So Debbie, I can speak to that.
Sure.
Jack, our tree warden, did review that closely with Sam.
Okay.
All of the park locations very closely with Sam, ensuring that it will be fully outside of the critical tree root zone.
Okay.
And that's, so Sam did do his homework and due diligence.
Thanks,
Okay,
Kaylee.
good. Okay, thank you. Okay, that's good. And then the other part was when you take it out from, where it's stationed, you're right on the parking lot, right where people leave.
That's correct.
Yeah, so that kind of worries me, but okay, thanks.
So I'm gonna raise my hand and say something before Jane and Carol, because I agree with Debbie. This parking lot is so crowded, but the cars have to be so careful because pedestrians are walking all over the place. So, and in terms of the bikes, to me, they're not going to have bigger impact than the pedestrians. I don't think anybody goes speeding through this parking lot because you could kill so many people. That's just people walking between cars and getting out of their cars and walking down the middle of the parking lot. So I agree. It's very busy with people and cars, but it's that way now. And I think the cars have to be the cars that are there now are very aware of how careful you have to be exiting the parking lot. I would just like to say that. So then we're going to go, did I say Jane next and then Carol, or I can't remember who I said next.
I think Carol was before me.
Okay. Carol?
I want to bring up, when we first talked about this, I asked the question, are people allowed to ride bikes in Lars Anderson Park? And I was told no. So I'm not sure why we're going through all this to put a bike station at Lars Anderson Park if people can't take the bikes into the park.
Carol, I think the purpose is so people can bike to the park and enjoy it. So it's to get you to the park.
Correct.
Okay.
My question kind of dovetails off that same idea is, I appreciate they're not supposed to be, but I mean, I know when I walk Reservoir, people are in there with bikes all the time. And it feels like by putting a bike station there and by putting one at Laz, it's almost like saying, ride your bike around here, accidentally saying that. And, what's the monitoring of that to make sure it doesn't happen? Because it already happens. I know that it already happens in Reservoir with like walking around there. You'll often see bikes, going around. So it just feels like we're sending out two different messages. So just a comment maybe, because I don't think you have an answer for that, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot.
No, I mean, my my comment is there's another location in North Brookline where we worked with the neighbors. They were concerned about bikes traveling the wrong way down a one-way street. And I told them I have no ability to control that, but we can put up a sign that says no bikes. And, you know, we try to balance sign inflation. I think you all can agree that there's too many signs, but
Mhm.
people keep asking for them, so we keep putting them in. And so I'm more than happy to put up a sign that says no bikes on path, no bikes in park, whatever the commission would like to add to the vote. If it means that we could provide this amenity to the public, I'm happy to put up a sign on the station that says no bikes, no bikes can enter Lars, or, no bikes on Lars paths.
But isn't that what, I thought I was told that's what the regulations were now, that bikes are
Right.
not allowed.
No, they are. It's just that, we don't have a sign that specifies it. And
Oh.
I believe the concerns is that by providing bikes in the vicinity, it may encourage people to, and we have no,
Right.
we don't have active monitoring.
Right. I think that sign already exists at Reservoir, to be honest.
Okay, that I
Yeah,
haven't seen it, but
and I'm just saying it's there and it happens, and and then by putting bikes there, it just feels, kind of close to the entrance, it just feels counterintuitive, but.
So are there I don't see any other commissioners with their hands raised except me. And have I missed anybody?
Nope.
Okay, so I think we need to encourage bike riders as much as possible. I'm a bike rider. I bike around Brookline. My husband bikes around Brookline. And the more bicycles you have on the road, it's safer it is for the bikes. And these, to encourage people to get to the park not using cars is fantastic. And if we put these up for a year and nobody uses it, then makes sense to take them down. But I just think we really need to encourage people bicycling. And the ones, it's my understanding we're not taking away any parking from any of these. And we're putting them in locations. You don't want to put them really close to the street like that, where they have to back out into traffic. This you can say it's backing out into traffic at Goddard Avenue, where we're showing on this slide, but cars are going really slowly because there are people milling all over, all around that parking lot. I've driven in and out, and you have to be so careful because people don't really pay that much attention to the cars. They expect the cars to pay attention to you. So I think the Park and Recreation Commission should be as green as possible, and encouraging, you can't get any greener than encouraging people to ride their bikes and to use non-petroleum means of transportation. So I think I hope personally we do this, and I see that there's a lot of opposition, but I think we're going to need, do you want us to vote on each place individually, or do they work as a group? Because you can bike from one to the other. When you take a blue bike, you're only supposed to go I think it's a half an hour. You have it for a half an hour, and then you have to dock it somewhere else. So it's really made for short rides. And before I ask about the question, Teresa raised her hand. So go ahead, Teresa.
Yes, thank you, Claire, for what you just shared. I just want to echo that statement. I think whatever we can do as a commission to encourage the use of alternative means of transportation outside of traditional cars, so encouraging the use of public transportation and bikes is certainly something I would think is within our purview, and I very much support that. And looking at the map of existing blue bike stations around Brookline, there is nothing even close to this area of Lars Anderson. So I think expanding that direction and giving more people the ability to bike over that way and enjoy Lars Anderson, which we all know is a really nice place to go and enjoy and walk. And, maybe you want to take a bike out there. It'd be really nice to have that capability for folks. So I also encourage, I think that this is a great idea, and I'm glad you spoke up in favor, Clara. Thank you.
Thanks, Teresa. Any other? I'll go. I see no other hands, so I'll go back to my question. to Sam, do you want us to vote on each site or do they work as a group? So if we don't want one,
I think we
You're
should.
well, you can do them individually. That's what I did. The transportation board did one long vote. That was a vote for each one. But if the commission, since it's only 3, would like to do 3 individual votes, I will defer to you.
Shane, is that?
I
an-
actually would like to make a motion that we do split the vote to 3 different votes.
Okay.
Thank you.
I mean, I don't know, that's a suggestion, right? We're not gonna, if people don't disagree, we'll just hold 3 votes. Okay, so raise your hand if you want to vote on the way we're voting. If not, we'll just have 3 individual votes.
Yeah, we're going to have 3 individual votes, no?
Yes, yes, wait, okay. So, so does someone want to propose a motion for one, so we'll
I'm
call
happy to make a
Lars,
motion
we'll
for
call
Warren
Lars
Field.
and,
Oh,
okay.
sorry. I'm happy to make a motion for Warren Field. It's an
okay.
easy one for me, so.
You have,
Happy to make a motion to approve Warren Field, that
Thank-
motion. Yeah.
Thank you, Jane. We have a motion to approve the Blue Bike Station at Warren Field. Do we have a second?
Second,
Okay, it's seconded by Caro, and I will call you your name as I see you on the screen. Michael,
Yes.
Jane,
Yes.
Carol,
yes.
Debbie,
Yes.
Teresa,
Yes.
and the chair votes yes. Okay, do I have a motion for the one at the reservoir?
I'm happy to make that motion, Ms. Jane.
Okay, so
Mhm.
Jane is a motion to accept the one at the reservoir. Do I have a second to that?
Second,
Okay, Carol, and so I'm going to call names again. This is to accept the Blue Bike Station at the reservoir site as shown by Sam. Michael,
Yes.
Jane,
No.
Carol,
yes.
Debbie,
Yes.
Teresa,
Yes.
and the chair votes yes. So that was where 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6 of us, 5 for and one against. So that passes. Okay, we have, do we have a motion for the site at Lars Anderson parking lot? The small parking lot on Goddard Ave.
So moved.
Thank you, Carol. Do we have a second to accept the Blue Bike location at Lars Anderson?
Jane, I'll second it.
Thank you, Jane. So again, I'm calling you as I see you on my screen. Michael,
Yes.
Jane,
No.
Carol,
Yes.
Debbie,
No.
Teresa,
Yes.
and the chair votes yes. So that is 4-2. So that also passes. So we have our 3 bike stations approved by the commission. 1 unanimous, 1 5-1, 1 4-2. Thank you. That was a very robust discussion. Thank you all very much.
Yes, thank you all, and I promise to keep the commission up to date. I will send a message to Mealy. As I mentioned, Lars Anderson would be the only location that I believe will go in this calendar year, but I will keep the commission up to date the best I can. But I really appreciate all your questions and consideration for this, and I hope that it benefits one of you or someone that you know. So
Sam, I just want to say thank you. I mean, even though I obviously didn't like some of the sites, I really appreciate the work that you've done on this, and I appreciate your answering questions. So thank you for that.
thanks, Jane. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Bye, Sam. Okay, we're going on to the next item, which is slated for 6:40. We're running a little behind, but that's okay. It was a good discussion. Lars Anderson Park Ice Rink update, and that's Mealy.
Yep. Okay, so let's see, you all can see my screen now, right?
Yes.
Okay, Great. I just wanted to give you all a brief update on the ice rink DRC. A few weeks back, we've had a conversation to review the applications, and it went up to the select board, who ended up interviewing all the applicants. So just wanted to give an update that we now have our design review committee, and we have a really amazing and robust design review committee. With the select board representative and chair being David Perlman. Our building commissioner and co-chair is Jason Bowers. Park and Rec Commission is being represented by Clara, who's also co-chair. And we also have commissions and boards representative from preservation, planning, and we also have youth hockey representation, Friends of Lars Anderson Park, and have, again, like a great set of residents, who are all listed here. I'm not going to go spell everyone's name. And we also have one associate member, Ethan Yakowitz, who is not going to be a voting member, but he will be, an associate member who will be able to provide his input. So we are a total of, 11-member design review committee. So we will have our first DRC starting up soon in June 22nd. It is going to be all virtual, 6 p.m. Zoom meeting. And then the next one, DRC number 2, will be in July 30th, also 6 p.m. I believe it's a Thursday. And the third DRC will be sometime in September. We're just trying to make sure that the consultant team is available, like finding a date that they're available. So I would say sometime second or third week of September. In addition to all that, we are also looking to do a potential site visit, a site walk with our DRC members sometime next week, and it looks like it might be a quorum, and if it is, it will be publicly posted as well. So very excited to kick this off, and the design team has been working really hard in looking at the existing conditions and what can be done to really ensure that there is a balance between preservation, restoration, and also meeting the needs of recreation. So they've been doing really great job so far, and staff has been working really closely with them to provide input, answer any questions. So we're very excited to share all of that with you on June 22nd. And again, Clara, we've discussed this before, but I would really, really highly encourage all of the commissioners to be part of that discussion, as it is a really important part of Lars Anderson Park, and your voices are going to be important. Even if you're a non-voting member, it'll be important to hear your voices. So we look forward to seeing as many of you as possible during the DRC.
Thanks, Millie. You have other slides, or we'll take questions? I think we have.
No, this is the only one slide I have for Lars.
Okay, I see Teresa's hand raised, and I have to scroll down to see hands. So Teresa, right now, you're the only one with your
just
hand
me.
raised, so go right ahead.
Yeah, I just want to share that I am glad that we have there was an opportunity for additional members of the community to join this design review committee, and it's a robust group, and I'm just looking forward to hearing about the work that they're doing. So I'm glad. I know we had a very lengthy discussion on this a couple of weeks back, so I'm glad that there is space for additional folks on it. And I do just want to quickly note that I believe Isabel's name is spelled wrong on this slide.
Oh, you're right. You're right. I'll correct that.
Thank you, Millie.
Jane, did I see your hand up?
You did see my hand up, but it was about the spelling of Isabel's name. So
Oh, thank you. I
it's all set.
appreciate it.
Thank
I
you.
apologize for the typo.
Okay. Thank you. It's exciting. The rink was built in the 50s. It's given us a lot, and it's
Yeah.
It will be exciting to see the new one.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. And it'll just be this wealth for the next generation, for decades to come. So we're very excited about the progress made as well.
Thank-
Okay, great.
And then the next thing is the recap of the CIP and CPA projects that this is Mealy 2. So you're
Yes,
going to start with
Neely
CIP.
and a little bit of Tim as well. So we'll tag
Okay.
team on this. So again, just wanted to give you all a brief update on where we are at the end of the town meeting and where we are with the CIP projects for parks and recreation. And we'll also go through the CPA projects that town meeting voted on. So for parks and open space, really the three big projects you're seeing here are Walnut Hill Cemetery, roadway improvements, Sewell Recreation, for design of, essentially all of the grounds, and Lincoln School grounds as well. Like it'll involve like all the design of all the playground, the fields and parking lots. And so essentially anything in the exterior. It's also, the design funding we have for this year. And in addition to that, like few of the other our projects, CIP projects here, you see the parks and playground rehab, town and school grounds rehab, Big Belly and tree removal and replacement, urban forestry. These are just like some of the recurring items that you see, in our CIP. And Tim, do you want to touch on the recreation CIP?
Yep. So we all know, this past year, we addressed the dehumidification system at the pool, the indoor aquatics facility. But the other piece of the puzzle is the filtration system of the indoor pool at ECAC. Currently, the filters, we have 2 filters servicing 3 pools, those filters being deemed undersized. But at the same time, a couple years ago, when the study was done to investigate them, they were shown to be at the end of their life. So funding was granted for us to remove the old filtration system and install an up-to-date one that is proper size to handle the entire aquatics facility, which is really the last big project of that building to ensure its usability for years to come.
Thanks, Tim.
Great. So I'll move on to our CPA projects for parks and open space. So again, one of the big projects for us this year will be the Old Burying Ground tomb restoration. So we again we're finalizing our 100% construction documents for the restoration of the tombs. And, this funding amount will help us implement that and, go into construction sometime. We're hoping to get the bids out sometime later this fall and, get the work started over the winter. And likewise, we also have the tree inventory and planting to support our urban forestry's work and also implement the urban forestry master plan. So again, this is one of the recurring items that you've seen for the past 2 years. And in addition to that, we also have the Lars Anderson Park green infrastructure and drainage design. This is again like design money to really address some of the flooding issues that we've seen, from the pathway towards the lagoon area and on the Avon Street side, and really thinking of that as an opportunity to expand the existing wet meadows and thinking of that as an added community asset and resource. And just wanted to, Tim and I were talking that we just got over FY27 and now it's time to think about FY28. So just wanted to, Clara, actually, I'm moving on to the next agenda item. Do you all have any questions on CIP CPA projects first?
Jane has her hand up.
Amelia, I think I asked you about this but on the Lars Anderson on the wetlands, I think you kind of heard some questions at town meeting about the design review. There will be, I just want to clarify, maybe for public comment, for the public to hear, there will be a design review around the wet meadow and the plans for that. Okay. So I just think it's important for people to realize that there will be that. And thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yes.
And I can just add the Wet Meadow is exciting because it's really an opportunity again for the park and open space to implement green design that's forward looking and a wet meadow. This will keep, you know, stormwater in the site, replenishing groundwater rather than putting it in catch basins and pipes and dumping it somewhere in Boston Harbor. So it's a good thing. So I'm glad it got accepted, and it has I think it has fun. You know, there can be boardwalks through it. It's a real
Yeah.
educational opportunity
Yeah.
and a design opportunity. So I'm personally very excited about that project. So that's my comment on that. So
Thank you, Sarah.
so FY27. So now we're going to go to FY28.
Yes, so FY28, you know, we are thinking that July, next month, we will do a draft CIP presentation. And then August, we will do the final CIP presentation and also hold a public hearing. And that's when we would also be looking for the commission's vote on the projects. And, you know, this is not only going to be FY28, it will be review of projects for the next 6 years and the out years as well, or maybe out years is included in that. So we would present everything. And during the August commission meeting is when we would love to do the CPA draft presentation, because in terms of timing, July is when we typically submit the intent for CPA, and we're hoping that by August this time, we will hear back on if our projects were accepted to, you know, apply for the full grant or not, or I mean, like provide the full application. So hopefully we'll hear by that time and present the CPA draft presentation. Then in September, if that happens, then we would do the CPA final presentation and ask for the commission's vote of support for us to submit the projects, the grants, and also provide us with the recommendation letter. So that's our plan with the timeline. The CPA one, we'll keep an eye on, you know, if we'll make it on time or not for August meeting.
So July, August, and September are all very
We're going to be talking all about
very
projects and
important meetings.
budgets, right? Yeah, and you know, because again, like August and July, people go away, and we wanted to make sure, especially for August, since that is the important month, and we'll be holding the public hearing, and you know, we'll be looking for a vote that, you know, just wanted to make sure that we will have a quorum and people, you know, the commissioners are available that month.
Thanks, Millie. Okay, the next agenda item is to review and discuss, make sure I didn't forget anything, to review and discuss revision of the current policy of organized sports. And is that Tim or Millie or both?
That's me, and Tim, please
Oh.
chime in wherever you see fit. Sorry, I'm trying to. Okay, sorry. Give me a second. Trying to find the slide.
Well, Millie's looking for the slide. What we wanted to bring to the attention of the commission was a potential clarification when it came to defining organized sports when it comes to field permitting. Over the years, and speaking with the Rangers as well as Parks as well as Rec, there's been instances where there's been groups utilizing our open spaces in our fields where sometimes on paper they don't need a permit, but when we see things in reality, a permit is definitely needed. So we've been working, Parks Rec and many from Millie's team have been working together the last couple months, looking at the language to see how we can improve it. So we wanted to come here tonight with, again, some improved language around the idea of organized sports to present to you, get your feedback, and hopefully move forward with an update for the public.
So again, we're hoping to review the revised language today, and next month, July, we'll come back and take your feedback today, and we'll make any improvements, and then hopefully next month we can have some more review and discussion, and then vote for the updates. So I'll just start with the current language that's in the rules and regulations that lives in the Parks and Open Space website, and also want to touch upon the language that is currently in the physical signs in the parks. So the language in the rules and regulations, the big rules and regulations currently say that the following activities require permits: organized sports, activities, clubs, groups, meetups, matches, or youth collegiate adult athletics. So the main confusion that we've noticed over the past few years is what is an organized sports and what is meetups and matches, and if that needs permit versus doesn't. So like that just felt like there was a little bit of a gray area and needed some interpretation. And again, as Tim mentioned, that is what we're trying to clarify here. And the language currently that we have in our physical signage is permits required for organized sports, including social teams or leagues. So, the organized sports word here is common, but it's a little slightly different than what exists in the rules and regulation. And I can see that for the physical signage, it's a little bit more concise, but what the physical signage underscores, that the big rules and regulation doesn't, is it talks about the social teams and leagues specifically. So just want to kind of point side by side, the current language and the big rules and regulations, physical signage at parks, and what our proposed modification is. So I don't know how you want to do it. You all were sent last minute the agenda update and the revised language, and we have been collaborating with rec team to come up with this language, and while doing that, our team also pulled up languages from towns around, and different towns surrounding communities, which was also sent to you all for reference. And off of that, we came up with a language that we felt like would be clear and make sense for our parks and open spaces. So before going into that, again, Tim touched upon that a little bit, but really the intent of this revision is to define what organized sports is, because that, in our experience, has kind of been a little bit gray and has led to, some interpretation that, does organized sports mean it has to be just always be done by a club or a league, as mentioned in the language earlier, or if, a group of friends who's casually just meeting up and playing somewhere, that is also defined as organized sports. So that is one of the intent of this revision. We're trying to define what organized sports is. And we're also really trying to clarify, in doing that, when a permit is needed, what exactly organized sports mean, and when it needs permit. And then also, really trying to attempt to define what casual play means, because again, like I mentioned, if a group of friends are saying, okay, let's go to a park and play a pickup game, or let's play soccer or catch, then that would not need permit, right? So we're trying to define that a little bit. And we're also trying to really make it clear that, if someone is, using parks and open space, and really parks and open spaces are meant to be enjoyed and be used for recreational activities or passive activities, right? For instance, if there's a field, where if it's permitted and a permit holder shows up, and if a group of kids or friends or family are playing pickup games, then the permit holder at that time gets the priority. So we wanted to, again, like make it very crystal clear in our proposed modification. And the final intent is, just like trying to, again, make the language in the rules and regulations a bit more consistent with the physical signage. And in the physical signage, again, we will not be adding all of this because it just becomes too long, but we're hoping that, in making this update, some of that is going to be addressed. So I will stop here in this comparison page and maybe, see if you want to just like read through, and happy to answer any questions at this point.
You have questions?
Yeah. So essentially here we're saying, again, that, organized sports is defined as an activity that involves like coordinated participation and like something that goes on a scheduled basis, like it could be leagues or teams or online groups. And we're also really pointing out and highlighting that, anyone who needs uninterrupted time for the field or a space, or needs an exclusive use of a field or a facility, then that is defined as organized sports or an activity and needs a permit. And we're also like here, I didn't mention that in the intent, like we just wanted to clarify that, these groups could be, residents or non-residents, regardless of that, you need the permit. And, we were also thinking about, if we should include like schools or businesses, but that didn't make it to the language here, but, curious to see the commission's thoughts on that. And like I said, in the sentence here, we're defining that informal games and activities and, spontaneous activities do not require permit, and that, if a group with a permit comes along, then they have the priority use versus the non-permitted users.
So Mealy, do you want to call on people or
Yes.
do you want?
Yeah. Feel free to call on people.
So I think Jane had her hand up first.
Thank you. First of all, I really appreciate you even trying to take this on. It's and I do think the language you have for the most part is very clear. My only minor suggestion is maybe to make a point B and just say, kind of separate out informal games from organized.
Good idea.
And then basically, instead of calling it informal, call it casual. So casual games or athletic activities such as spontaneous matches pick up from there. So that's my only suggestion, is to put casual at the beginning, because I think that in my head clarifies it, and I would make it a point B. But I think this is great. I've heard a lot of this issue, and so I do think it's great that you're trying to address it, and I hope that language makes it more clear. So great attempt, and I hope it works.
Thank you, Jane.
Okay, Carol, you had your hand up, but now it's down. Did you want to say? And you're muted.
I've taken my hand down.
Okay. I just wanted to say I think this is wonderful. There's been, we've got to catch the people who say we're not official, but they send out an online invitation to the dorm, and and my only issue or concern is an online group. Can people say, oh, we're not a group? Is there another word? I think I love the word online, but is there another word other than group? Because people say we're not a group. We just it was, it was sent out to everyone. We're not a group. I don't know if there's a better word than group. I would, Jane's thinking, I can tell, I can see those gears turning. Can you think of a better word than group? And you're muted if you're trying to say, okay.
I'm a little stumped right now.
Yeah.
I know
Anyway.
exactly what you're getting at, though, because that's actually, I think right there is what the complaint is mostly about, right?
Right.
This
Yeah.
online, we just sent it out to the dorm, and all of a
Right.
sudden they have this huge group.
Online meetups.
Online meetups is great.
Meetups, yeah, that might be the right word.
That's good because it seems less official, because I think you get big groups out there that aren't official.
And my only question is if meetups, I mean, because there's an official group meetup, right? So Is there anything, you know, because they might be
Well-
like, oh, we didn't do this through Meetup, and then it would be like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. I don't-
I think online, I mean, there's not a program I'm not referring to a program called Meetup. It's just online meetups.
No,
you know?
I know, I totally agree. We're not,
Yeah.
we're not referring to that, but they would then twist our words on us, I'm afraid.
Online get together.
Yeah.
Online
mean, I
gathering,
think-
how's that? Online gathering?
Yeah, I think
probably
they're
not
all
right.
good, and I don't know, I would just urge us to have Millie and Tim think about it and maybe come out, we've
Yeah.
made
That's what I
some
was gonna say.
suggestions.
We could come back with options.
Yeah.
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 I love the idea, though. I think this is something, whatever that is, online groups, meetups, whatever we're gonna call it, that does seem to be the big issue.
Yep.
You know, that we're hearing
Agreed.
about. It's not so much the coordinated organized are very clear what that is. It's that online one that's not,
Mhm.
that seems to cause the most problem.
So Carol, you do have your hands raised now.
My hand is back up.
Yes.
I want to know, I mean, I think this is all wonderful, but how are you going to enforce it? Here it is, a Saturday, somebody has reserved the field, they arrive there, and there's a whole group out there playing. And how are you going to resolve this issue?
So,
Well,
oh, someone's
Yeah,
gonna.
I guess,
No,
I
just-
thought it was the code, if you have
Yeah.
a permit and you
If you have a
coach.
permit, you have preference.
But that doesn't mean anything. They may have a permit, but the people who are there may ignore them. So
Yeah,
what
but
is going to happen? I mean,
Oh, so
that's,
how are you gonna regulate that? I see what you're asking.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so we do a few different things. So we do have, our ranger presence like through the weekend. Like we have 2 rangers, full-time rangers, and, one of them works on Saturdays, provided the hours are 7 to 3, and the other one works on Sundays. So they're also super proactive. Like we're so fortunate to have them in our team. So they really, really like stop like all the social media online and, ahead of time, like find, if anything is mentioned in one of our parks, they proactively reach out to the group and say, you need permit. And the other thing that they also do is, sometimes like they're walking around and, they double check if someone has a permit or not. And if they don't, they again, like go and talk with these groups and individuals and let them know that, hey, you need a permit. Can you take a permit from next time? So there's like a little bit of an educating part, which already is happening, so this does not mean that like we have to do anything additional to enforce. This just helps us, when our rangers are enforcing, these rules to point and say, hey, look at, go to this link in our website, and it helps you understand what organized sports is and when you need a permit. So it's like really empowering them to enforce what they're already doing right now.
I would also add too, so the recreation department issues the permits across town. And within that system, it's shared with the parks department. So the park rangers all have accounts within our system. So they're able to view on a daily basis what parks, what facilities are being permitted, which allows them kind of to see, okay, we know baseball's coming in, so this group needs to go, or we know soccer's coming in, so this group needs to go. So it allows them some heads up, again, like Millie said, to be proactive. Again, cross-departmental collaboration on that one, to be able to see what's going on where and what's going on when. Officially, that's booked officially.
Yeah.
So I have a question. When someone gets a permit for baseball and a group of people are there and they're setting up volleyball nets and they're going, oh, we're not bothering you. And the coach of the baseball can say, well, actually you're in the outfield. You may not realize it, but balls go there. Do they have some kind of drawing or sketch that shows the amount of space their permit guarantees them unobstructed by other?
We don't have a sketch per se that goes with the permit. I know this is a conversation we've been having between our groups, to try to find some level of delineation between, the open space piece of it and the field. So that's something we're working on together, either at signage or temporary fencing or something of that nature. So
here, let me-
we're talking about it.
So they'll be able to say, no, we've got this, you're in our
Right.
reserved space.
You need to
Okay.
be at this point or beyond. Yep.
Thanks. Jane, you had.
Yeah, on that same note, Tim, like if I pick up a permit And I think it's sort of getting at what Carol was asking. If I have a permit, I pick it up. Do I have the information about a park ranger that I can call in case I get there, or when I get there, now someone's in my space and I don't want to confront them. I want someone else. Do they know who they can call when they get the permit?
All that information is within the permit, on the permit, and
Okay,
the notes.
perfect.
Yeah, so they should have easy access to that.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And I can double check that. Thanks for asking, so I can double check.
Okay, thank you.
I don't see anybody else's hand raised. Neely, you have, so are we gonna vote on the, do you have another slide, or we,
No,
next
that's-
meeting?
Yes, so next meeting is when we will vote on this. And we will also come back with, the revised language as was suggested, and we will try to find few alternative words for online group, and then we will review that and hopefully we'll get a final vote.
Will you email all the commissioners that one slide, or is it online, they can find it?
We will include, yes, we can email it ahead of time, that one slide.
That would
with
be
the
nice,
revised
'cause
update, yeah.
it's a lot of words. It'd be nice to read it
Yes, for
more
sure.
slowly.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Okay.
so that's organized sports. Oh, did someone just say, Teresa?
Yeah, sorry, I just had a quick question in terms of, are you gonna update the website where people can reserve a space? Because I was just going to see if there is even that possibility to reserve some green space, for example, at Amory to play volleyball. Is that something you would add to the website to make it possible for people to reserve?
What do you mean by that? As like an a la carte to do it online, or just?
Yeah.
So all field permits, all permitting with the exception of a few things such as picnic tables, shelters, the ice rink, and a few tables across town, you can book as an as-needed basis. When it comes to full field permits, repeating permits, weekly, monthly, those have to go through an actual permit process with a paper permit through our office. So it's not something they can just go on a whim and reserve whenever they want. There's a heavier process on that, so we can do our checks and balances to make sure there's no competing individuals. But there is calendar. I will say there are calendars on our website where individuals can go and look at the park and see if it is available. So you can filter off and see if a park space is available to call and reserve. So.
Okay, I think that's it for the questions. Thanks, Teresa, for asking that question. We've got Recreation Department update next.
Great. All right. All right. Good evening, everybody. Tim Davis, Recreation Director. A lot going on. Obviously, we are entering the summer. School is ending. And one of our, if not our busiest season, is kicking off. Just a staffing update, as we always start with. Summer position-wise, we are completely full, which is wonderful. Really ahead of schedule, even though it's only a few weeks away. Andrew and the team and Autumn and everybody has been really churning and getting our returning staff ready, as well as some new staff. So summer positions across day camp, nature camp, as well as our vendor programs is all set. So we're excited to get them in for orientation in the next few weeks and trained up and ready to go. As mentioned last time around, our assistant ground superintendent is still open. We're still evaluating that position. Now that we are in season, it is admittedly not the best season to hire that position. So it looks like we're going to get through our golf season and towards the end really start grinding on that to see who we can recruit and fill that position to give that team some help. And then unfortunately, we are hiring for the director of SEWL, our early childhood education director. Brittany is going to be leaving us. Brittany is expecting her second child for her ever-growing family. And so she's going to be taking a step back to be home with her family and raise those little ones. She'll have 2 under 2 now. So we wish her all the best. And we thank her for almost 5 years now being with us. So we are actually in the final round of interviews for that position. We somewhat lucked out the time of year at the end of the school year. So our candidate pool has been very, very strong. So we're feeling really confident going into that. So most likely, hopefully by next month of the next update, we'll have a pretty solid update when it comes to that position. I wanted to touch on the outdoor pool feasibility study. As we've been
Yes.
talking about for quite some time now, I'm happy to report that it is underway, or the process is underway. This past month, a couple weeks back, so we put it out to bid officially through the town and the official channels. That bid closed, and we received 4 submittals from firms across the state, but also across the country, who are interested in providing that service for the department. The selection committee, which is myself, Amanda Wong, the aquatics director, Teresa here, Lauren Bernard, as well as Eliza Jonas, one of the advocates of the pool group in town. That's been our selection committee. When it comes to the outdoor pool feasibility study, we all met last week. We reviewed all of these submittals. We narrowed it down to 3 firms, and then we are in the process of scheduling those firms for official interviews to be selected for this feasibility study. And then, as mentioned on the screen, our goal probably by the end of this month is to have somebody on board with a contract in front of the select board to get executed and the work to get started. So we are approaching the end of that RFP piece of it and really looking forward to getting this work going. Just a recap of what that feasibility study is going to show us from the firm that is selected. It's going to be a site analysis of 4 possible locations, 2 which we've identified, which is Fisher Hill West, as well as the Lars Anderson Yard, the DPW yard, which has been topic of conversation for many, many months, and then 2 other locations that they will determine based on the GIS information and other fit tests and other historical information that we can give them. And so they will be making those decisions while working with the town. Programming and facility options for those locations, so pool size, configurations, the amenities that are going to go along with a potential outdoor pool, scenarios of how the pool can be programmed. So is it going to be more recreational? Is it going to be lap swim? Could it be competition in the summer? So on and so forth. And then efficiencies for operations. So understanding the sustainability goals of the town and how that would play into the facility and the location that's being selected. Market and community analysis, so seeing the pools in the area, understanding our town, understanding the need, and reporting on that. Cost analysis, one of the big questions of it. So construction costs, including escalations out 3 years. So we're equipped with that information for construction, but also the anticipated annual operating expenses plus that escalation. How much does it cost to keep it open for that limited time in the summer or the warm months? So we'll be able to have that for planning purposes if this moves forward for capital. But the end result is going to be a full presentation to this commission as well as to the select board. So whomever receives the contract will be here with you all to present and to answer any and all questions that everybody has. So we're excited to get this going. I know it's been a long time, and I thank you all, and I thank the public for their patience as we got to a point where we can handle it. But we are full steam ahead, and we'll have probably a really good update for you come next month. Construction update on the golf course. The drainage project is nearing completion to the extent we can to open it. So we will be looking for the Father's Day weekend opening. So next weekend, not this coming, but the following. There will be some limits to the opening of the front 9, just with some ground under repair, with all the seeding and with all the reestablishment of the soils. But we're very excited to have it open finally. It's been a long haul, long project. Took a little longer than we expected, but the work was there. Everybody was on site. So we figured if we're going to do it, we're going to do it right, and we'll take the extra time if we need to. The picture on the bottom right, we were able to welcome out the Conservation Commission to do a walkthrough with them, just because they did provide us permits and met with us regularly before we kicked off. So we kind of got to show off the work to them and show them how everything is functioning. So again, really excited finally to have 18 open and to get to show the public what we've been working on. Another announcement of some small construction going on at Tappan. So Tappan Pavilion, or Tappan Gymnasium, is the 3-story gymnasium that sits between the high school and the aquatic center. On the 3rd floor is our pavilion. It's a multi-use space. We have tennis, we have volleyball, we have pickleball, baseball practices up there, lacrosse practices up there. So a unique space. So in partnership with the schools, over the next 2.5 weeks to 3 weeks, that flooring is being replaced, and that flooring is going to be relined appropriately again, for tennis, pickleball, and volleyball. So it'll be clean, it'll be safe, and it'll be fresh, especially as we enter the summer, as that space is used very actively for summer camps and various summer programs. Again, closure of 3 weeks. It started on the 4th, so they're actively, the contractor is there working on it, and we're excited to see the space. So a nice little refresh to that floor that gets plenty of use. The recreation center for Elliott began as well. This was the capital project that was approved last fiscal year. This is in partnership, obviously, with buildings, it being our main home and our main building. So far, the Elliott classroom, which is the main floor, the bottom floor, garden level, the flooring, carpeting, and paint has been completed. So that piece has been done. It was something that was easy to knock out and allowed us to have a little more flexibility on space if we need to move downstairs when the main work starts upstairs. The roof itself of the building is scheduled to begin this month. We're looking at about a 1-month process of replacement there. Access and use of that building will not be interrupted. So the public can still use the restrooms, the programming space will still be active, and staff will still be working out of the building. So we're anticipating that schedule to be shared with us this week, and we'll move along with the roof. And then the top floor and renovation is scheduled to be done in the fall, getting us through the summer. Obviously, summer is a hard time for us to be moving around. So we'll be handling the bid cycle and the documents over the summer for a fall build. And that piece of it is our main part of the office, addressing our office space and amenities, carpeting, walls, lighting, conference room, establishing an actual conference room at our office, as well as updating the restrooms, both on the employee side, but also on the public side. Elliott has the 2 public restrooms at Warren Park. So refreshing those amenities to make sure they're as comfortable as they can be for the public. This is just a little before and after show. So this was our classroom before, carpeting and tile from about 20 years ago, and this is where we are now. So pops of color, kind of going along with the branding. We're very clever, and we now call it the blue room and the green room. But we will be getting a divider going right down the wall, so the spaces will be able to be used at the same time. So the right side, the blue side, is starting to be put back together for camp. The main focus there is going to be an art studio that we're going to now activate with the expansion of adult and community ed and the demand for those classes. So we'll be programming out that space accordingly. And then the left side, which is carpeted, still got a little carpeting to do. You can see in the top left corner or top right corner. But that's going to be our classroom space. So we have many vendor programs that utilize this space. So that will be activated as well. So looking forward to seeing the public back in these nice, refreshed spaces. New initiative that we launched last week, 2 weeks ago, Park Passports. This was in partnerships with DPW's Parks and Open Space, specifically Alex Cassie, our friend over in Conservation, as well as Autumn Talent here in our office, our environmental educator. What we've done is we've created a passport to all parks and open spaces and playgrounds across the town. So individuals can pick up these mock passports, and inside, they're at the Recreation Department as well as Public Works offices. But within the passport is all amenities and sites open for visiting in town. So playgrounds, splash pads, conservation areas that you can walk, so on and so forth. And everyone also lists if there's a restroom, if there's a picnic space, if there's walking trails, kind of a one-stop shop guide to all of the recreational amenities in town, where folks can go with their passport. They can check off when they visit it. They can star off if it's their first time visiting, as it's our hope that individuals are going to be trying or venturing out into new parks and new playgrounds and new spaces that they haven't been before. And when they check off 6 of them, they can come back to either my office at the rec department or DPW, get their stamp that they completed the task, and get one of these little special edition stickers to go with it. So great way to try to expose people in town and our residents and visitors to our open spaces and our wonderful parks. And just a huge thanks to Millie, her team, again, Alex Cassie and Autumn in my office for getting these going. We were able to launch them at SpringFest a few weeks back to pretty wild success. I think we gave out about 1,000 when we were there. And then we also will be giving them out tomorrow we have an event over at the Brookline Housing Authority, their annual Family Day. So we'll be giving them out to those residents as well. So fun little initiative. We're excited to see how many make their way back to us. A highlight that I wanted to point out over at ECAC, this past May, we were able to implement water safety lessons and swim lessons for our preschool students at Sewell. So a great expansion of services over at Sewell, teaching these kiddos about water safety around the pool, but also getting them in the water with their parents as well as our staff, giving some first exposure to water for some of our young students, but giving them some, loose swim lessons where our full-time aquatic staff, our full-time lifeguards, and our full-time water safety instructors. So in the winter now, we have them ice skating at Lars, and then in the May and spring, we have them swimming in the pool. So just another great advancement to our program at Sewell, and start them young, especially when it comes to water safety. So parents were thrilled. Kids, as you can see here, were having a ball, and it was a good time. So great success with May, and May being Water Safety Month. This past May, ECAC did have their annual Water Safety Day. They had over 100 individuals come through and take part in the activities, learn about water safety, get in the pool for free swim, get in the pool for free swim lessons, learn about basic CPR, especially for the kids, as you see on the screen, as well as just general safety about life preservers. As you see top right, we do have these fun little canoes that the kids can get in and canoe around the pool. So a highlight of the Aquatic Center every single year, and the most individuals that we had come through as well for this event. So thank you to everybody who was involved in that, multiple departments, health department, police, fire, safety, everybody, as well as our rec team for putting that on. So congrats to ECAC and the entire full-time and part-time staff over there. Highlight over at the golf course, in partnership with the National Links Trust, which is a nonprofit foundation that looks to expand the game through municipal golf and grow the game of municipal golf. We have partnered with them, and we've been selected to expand. So they're based in Washington, D.C. Their main goal down there is the restoration and management of multiple municipal golf courses within the DC area, where they offer a host of programs exposing young folks to golf, and also exposing anybody and everybody who's interested in the game to learn to play. We've been partners with them for quite some time and kind of been in talks with them over the last year or so. And so they do Free Lesson Fridays, which is a program which is just what it is. It's certain Fridays throughout the year. Driving ranges are open and staffed with full-time pros or golf pros, part-time pros, teaching pros. So anybody who is interested in learning to play golf or looking for a lesson can come out for free with registration. So our entire golf team will be up at the driving range on July 17th from 5 to 7, taking part in this wonderful program. We have our friends from the country club coming down as well to assist with the instruction, as well as some other clubs around the area, as well as our teaching pros. So, and then the rec staff will be there slinging hot dogs, because what kid doesn't like a free hot dog on the golf course? So, looking forward to this day and hopefully seeing some great success. So, July 17th from 5 to 7, we'll be at the driving range getting that going. And again, if you're interested, anybody here watching interested, nationallinkstrust.org, you can see the Free Lesson Friday link on their website and register. Again, it's free. Just got to get your name on that list. And then last but not least, Brookline Day coming up. We're planning it. So September 27th, a little later this year, working around the holidays. But September 27th will be the return of our staple event of Brookline Day, returning to Coolidge Corner. And our team is heavy in the planning. Vendor registration will be released by the end of this week. So we're looking forward to welcoming everybody back for another successful event. And that was a long update, but that's all I had.
Thank you, Tim. I think I see Carol with her hand raised, and that's it. So Carol, go ahead.
I have two questions. One has to do with the RFP for the swimming pool. Is it when I remember when I was on the advisory committee and this whole thing first came up, there were talk about having a year-round swimming pool. Like I think it maybe is Belmont who may have that.
Okay.
I'm wondering if that's being considered or what the RFP is just for an outdoor seasonal swimming pool.
Right now, it's outdoor seasonal. I know that our committee's talked about that, putting a bubble over it or something of that nature. But when we have those conversations, we remember that we have an indoor pool already. So we're going to see how we can stretch the budget and see what we can get out of it for exploration of a potential. But right now, the focus on it is a seasonal outdoor, just seasonal.
Okay, and my other question is about the park passports.
Yeah.
How does a human being get a park passport?
So you can come to the recreation department. You can go down to town hall. But I would love to bring them wherever you need them.
Now,
So
where, I mean, you can go to town hall, where?
yep. So town hall at Public Works' office. Millie, what floor are you on?
Fourth
Actually,
floor.
Fourth floor. They're right
Fourth?
there at the front.
Fourth floor, yeah.
Yep.
And at the rec department means out at Sewell?
Elliott Street. Our
Elliott
main
Street.
office, 133 Elliott Street.
Okay.
Carol, I can drop one in the mail for you if you want.
No, I want to write an article about it.
Beautiful. I love
Yeah,
it.
okay.
I love it.
Okay.
Thanks, Carol.
Mm.
Thank you, Tim. So, Millie, are you going to talk about Springfest?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
I am.
I
I'll
won't
talk
ask the
about it.
question about that then.
Oh,
So
okay.
Millie, go ahead.
Okay, so this here you can see our group picture from Springfest. Not all the members like who were involved in this are in this picture, but I'll talk about it a little bit later as well. Just wanted to share it on the slides. So I'll start off with staffing update. We have few open positions. We have seasonal staffs like almost filled up, but still 1 or 2 positions left. Our forestry supervisor position is still open, and unfortunately, we now also have parks operations manager position open. Our longtime operations manager is moving on to a different role, and we are now actively looking for someone to fill that position soon. So I'll start off also with construction updates. We have a lot going on right now. So I'll start off with Pierce Playground and School. Specifically, we'll touch on Pierce Playground and the play element. So geothermal well work is still ongoing and is on schedule. They have been, the team has been directed to ensure that all the grass is restored and seeded by September 1, and we keep on getting assurances that they're still on schedule. So excited about that. And I also wanted to let you all know that the pre-K and K playground is currently being reviewed by the design team and also the building commission, specifically based on the feedback that the team had gotten from Sarah Kaplan, who is the town's ADA coordinator, about ensuring that one of the pieces of the play equipment will be accessible and also age appropriate. And this is kind of also in reference to one of the play equipment issues that the Driscoll School had. So making sure that the equipment that's going to be on the Pierce pre-K playground is fully going to be age appropriate and also inclusive for in terms of accessibility. And they're also currently reviewing the shade of the playground. The design, proposed design included one shade element, like a shade canopy. And just again, wanted to let you all know that they're looking at, analyzing if one shade canopy is going to be sufficient or if more needs to be added. Luckily, there are trees around, in this playground. Even if it's partially on the roof, the non-roof area, there will be trees, but, because the way the sun aspect is going to be, the playground is not going to get the tree shade. So again, just an update that is all being reviewed right now. Amory Playground, very excited to share these pictures with you. Halls Pond, as I mentioned last week, the also that the boardwalk and the railing and edging, it's essentially all complete. We had our punch list walkthrough this morning, and Tim was also there. He entered the sanctuary for the first time, and I was very
Beautiful.
excited
Absolutely
for him
beautiful.
to see
Yeah.
the new boardwalk. It's, really stunning, and the contractors are now, just taking care of the final punch list items and doing some final cleanups to ensure that it's fully going to be safe. The playground side, as you can see, one of the pictures here, it's all been hydro-seeded. All the planting has been complete. The major paving for the pathways in the parking lot is complete. The final thing that is now remaining on the parking lot side is the pavement markings, which hopefully will be done by the week of by sometime next week is our hope. And then they also have to do the final cleanup. So very excited about all of that as well. The parking lot looks really, really gorgeous. And the plants are really doing overall well. The comfort station work, again, they're working on some of the utility work inside the comfort stations. The roofing is complete, and they're now working to prep for the installation of doors and prepping for the interior work. So very excited on that, and they're doing really well in terms of schedule, and they're actually a little bit ahead of schedule right now. So we're again super excited about all of this. We are the house pond area, we're hoping to target for a soft opening sometime towards end of next week. So again, very excited for you all to get into the space, and it's really, really lovely. Shek Park. So again, a lot happening with the Shek Park as well. We're very close to the end, and just like trying to wrap up final few pieces. The final fence installation, like around the perimeter of the park, is complete. Planting and hydro seeding for the lawn is also complete. We're still waiting for the basketball court to get painted, and we're also waiting, for the contractor to put up the stone veneer on the walls for the stairs. So that is, ongoing, and we're hoping. The mid-June is probably not correct here. Towards end of the June, hopefully, for a soft opening. And when the soft opening does happen, folks will notice that much of the and some of the pathways are going to be closed off. And really that is, in the hopes that the lawn gets established. And, again, Green Dog hopefully we will be bringing Green Dog back towards the end of the year. So again, it's very close, and I'm very excited to have you all, to welcome you all to the space. And also we are going to be targeting for a grand opening celebration sometime towards end of September, early October. So more to come on that. Health Plaza, again, another project that we're really trying to wrap up. It's a CPA project, the last of the final piece that's remaining here to really install the capstone for that seat wall that you see behind here. But other than that, all the planting is complete. The paving looks amazing. The furnishing looks exciting. And, as of today, we have the utility box wrap. You can see on the right here. It looks really fantastic and really fitting for, the pollinator garden that's going to be going up here. And the community planting day for the pollinator garden and also the ribbon cutting is going to be on June 16th. I believe it is 4 or 5 p.m. So again, if you're available and around that day, please come and, help with the planting. The final piece that's remaining on Health Plaza is the art sculpture. And, we didn't get any RFPs in the first round. So we are changing the timeline and changing the budget a little bit. And, again, this is in collaboration with the Brookline Arts Commission. That RFP is now open and hopefully, will be installed in the next couple of months. Monmouth Park, again, much of this is the same, except for I'm excited to share that the contract is executed. The contractor will get a notice to proceed this week, and the goal is to start construction sometime mid-July towards third week of July. So likely it will be third week of July. So few other projects updates, projects that are in design and documentation. Elgate Community Garden, again, material order is in progress, and this is again one of our CPA projects. We are going to be working on installation in summer once the roofing project for the recreation building is complete. So everything is tied up for that. Skyline Park, we're moving towards 100% CD. We're focusing much of our energies right now on Griggs Park, so that is a little bit on a pause right now. But I'm excited to share that our 50% construction documents for Griggs is complete, and Aaron and all of our team did an amazing job pushing it forward. So that is currently in review, internal review. So I wanted to also give you a little bit update on Lars Anderson Park Cultural Landscape Report. So this is a flyer from our first community information meeting that took place in May. The design team, Galsic Landscape Architects, shared a ton of information about existing conditions and history, and it was just like really, really great to see. And they also have already submitted a really robust draft material, like draft report for the history portion of that. And the next community public information meeting will be sometime in September. So I just also want to let you all know that at some point they will come to the commission, but I want to share just what is the goal of the cultural landscape report and where we are in terms of timeline. So as I mentioned, like it really starts with the documentation on the landscape history. So the design team had to go to multiple places, like including the library and archives and everywhere, to really gather all the historic information together. And they also did like multiple interviews with people related, community members that have been tied to Lars Anderson Park. And based on that, like they put together a robust history information and out for the park. And in addition to that, they've also gone through the existing condition analysis for multiple things, including the park circulation and amenities and historic structures. So anything related to park, like they have done the analysis. And so the next step for them is going to be, then assessment of the landscape history and existing condition, and then make an assessment for preservation and provide recommendations on landscape management. And, again, as I mentioned, that includes like everything from day to day to like specific targeted, restoration recommendations. And that's where the treatment recommendations comes. So in terms of timeline, they have multiple tasks that, they broke down their scope of work. So task 1 was really data gathering, project kickoff, and task 2 was preliminary report in, again, the history, research, and documentation, and review of existing conditions. And, I'm very excited to share that all of that is complete at this point. And at this point, they are really working on the, the preservation analysis, evaluation, and will be working on the treatment plan, and also, putting together cost estimates on what that means, and will be sharing their findings in September. And a final report will be submitted sometime in fall. And at that point is like when, they will also come back, before the final report is put together, they will come to the Park and Rec Commission and share all of the information as well. So before I move on, any questions on the cultural landscape report? Okay, if not, I will move to Driscoll. Sorry, did someone have anything?
I wanted to
Yes.
ask, sorry, I didn't get my hand up. With Halls Pond, you say you're going to have a soft opening when?
Sometime towards the end of next week is what we're targeting. So we want to make sure, first of all, the contractor is able to clean everything up. Again, like the boardwalk work is complete. They just have like some final debris cleanup and loaming to do. We also want to get a sign off from Conservation Commission on the work because it is within the sanctuary area. And once we have all that, we're hoping towards the end of next week.
Okay, so it will most likely be open in July and August then.
Absolutely. It'll be
Okay.
open, yes.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so next I want to touch upon Driscoll School updates. So I'm sure most of you or some of you have, heard about this ongoing conversation about shade being an issue, specifically on the rooftop of Driscoll School. There was a Brookline News article, and it was also discussed, very robustly during town meeting that, parents and teachers for the school have been concerned about the level of heat and the temperature on some of the play surfaces, including the equipment and the poured in place rubber surfacing. That the rooftop pre-K and K play element is getting. And really, I'll preface by saying that that playground is located in a place where it gets a lot of Eastern and I should just go to the next slide. So here on the left here is the pre-K to K playground, and it's on rooftop. So that this play area gets really like a lot of morning sun and peak afternoon sun. And I think like to make matters a little bit more worse, for lack of a better word, all of this, as you can see here, is surrounded by glass. And as you're getting a lot of that afternoon sun, like some of these, the sunlight gets reflected, and on top of the sunlight, like you're getting that reflective heat as well. So there again, you might have seen the pictures that even on a 70s weather, the play elements like really heats up. So there's been some advocacy, ongoing advocacy from the schools and the parents about, looking into some shade element for the rooftop. And that, again, I just wanted to give the commission an update that conversation had been going back and forth, like in my short time here, but ultimately, like where we have landed with the building department and school department is that like it really needs to be a collaborative effort. And what we can do, essentially Parks is only in charge of maintaining these play equipment. We didn't have as much of a hand during the design process. We had a little bit of involvement, but we would say not in the level of the involvement that we currently have in Pierce School. But regardless of that, like right now, we're working with our play equipment manufacturers to see if any additional shade, like if the play essentially equipment can be retrofitted at this point, and if we can add shade. And what we are potentially concerned about is that even with that, it's only going to cover a piece of the play equipment and might not address like full of the shade. So that's where we have discussed with the building department that they would need to come in and potentially think about, you know, adding larger shade sails that is tied to the building. And at that point, you know, that would be outside of the Parks Department's division's expertise, and, you know, they would need to get additional consultants. So additionally, you know, while the rooftop had been initial concerns, you know, for parents and teachers, the 5 to 12 playground on grade has also brought some concerns that while there are some trees planted, and, you know, I will say that typically the trees that we plant are fairly tiny, like around 3 inches in diameter at the trunk, but, you know, given that shade was a concern, it seemed like the design team had planted like much larger trees than typically what we would plant. But again, they're still very, you know, young, and they have not matured. So there has been some shade concerns on the ground level playground as well. So again, like in this one, because this is on grade, the structure is not going to be an issue. We have discussed with our play equipment manufacturer on what can be done, if something can be retrofitted, or if we need to add something else for the canopies. You know, we're looking into all of that. So just wanted to, again, because this is, you know, a fairly hot topic right now, I just wanted to share where we are with that. Let's see. So before we go to events, any question on Tresco right now?
I just want to make a comment. This really has nothing to do with you, but I know you're the one getting the questions, and I know, according to Brookline News, but the Park and Rec Commission is looking at this and solving it. But the interesting thing is, when the Driscoll School was being presented to the community, how many beautiful large shade trees were part of that. And I think therein lies the discrepancy of what is and what was presented. And, you know, this is kind of really predates you and many of us on the commission. And it really isn't, as you said, a commission thing, but that is the understanding. But I think these, you know, when you look at these little small trees, that's not how it was presented. It was presented as these beautiful shade trees covering that and really being a true total amenity. And the rooftop, you know, I don't even recall that, but it did not look as open, I can tell you that, as it does now. So it's just interesting to see how that ended up playing out. But I appreciate you've handled this very gracefully, both at town meeting and, you know, as people have approached you in public to discuss it. So I just wanted to compliment you on that.
Thank you, Jen. Appreciate that.
I think Debbie has her hand up. She has that invisible
I'll have
hand
to
right now.
change my background so you can see me, but I just wanted to, yeah, I this is it is a hot topic, and so people are asking me about it. And I think it also mentioned in the article that the Park and Rec Commission was looking into it. So, you know, whatever we can do, or if that's true, it sounded like a misstatement to me, because I didn't really know much about it.
Yeah.
So if that could just be clarified. And the other thing is, what I think you told me, but just to clarify, so what are the kids doing? Are they using that playground up on top, or what are they doing?
Yeah, so currently, what we have advised the school is, you know, use the playground on, you know, not a hot day or overcast day. And if it's really hot and sunny, to use this playground down below here. So it's, you know, a little bit out of this picture here, but down below on the ground level, on the roadway level, there is another pre-K to K level playground, and it's more of a natural playground with wood log huts, you know, a few of those scattered around. And, you know, the schools, I think, had already used that in one of the hot days, and we just, you know, recommended to continue to use that, because to solve this shade, shade issue here in the rooftop, it will take a little bit of a time, and you know, even we understand, if we understand it's urgent, and the play manufacturers understands it's urgent, it will take time to flush the ideas out and, you know, weigh in the options. So that's been our recommendation in the interim.
Thank you.
Clara, you're muted if you're speaking.
Just so what I've understood, because we can't put any the town can't put any trees on this pre-K and K because it's on top of structure.
It's on
So-
top of structure.
So they're
yep.
looking at, as I understood, looking at installing a shade structure. So that
Right.
has to be designed and then ordered and installed. So that's what you're referring to when it's saying.
Right,
take time.
exactly. Yeah, and then we'll have to see if, you know, it can all be just a retrofit of the play equipment, or, you know, if it needs to have a bit more intervention with the building structure. So, you know, either on the rooftop, like on the rooftop or the facades of the building. So we don't know that yet. So all depend on how big the shade structure will need to be. So we're exploring that right now.
Thanks for elaborating. Thank you.
Okay, great. Now I'm going to move on to events if there are no other questions. So again, just wanted to share, you know, it did for some reason take a lot of pictures for DPW Week. I will say that it was a very hot day, and, you know, last year it was a very cold day, and this year it was a very hot day. So we get the extremes in DPW Day, but I will say that it was a smashing success between, you know, the third graders. All the third graders in the town came, and they were like really good troopers. Like they, you know, logged along in the hot day and were very enthusiastic and, you know, loved being there. And, you know, welding was definitely one of the favorites, you know, as every year. And you know, it was really a great time to open up the DPW facility and the Municipal Service Center and welcome everyone. And SpringFest, just wanted to mention that, you know, we had a pivot, like we had advertised for Saturday, May 30th. And as you all remember, that day was very stormy and rainy, and you know, we had to pivot, make a last minute rain date to Sunday, May 31st. And, you know, the whole team did really wonderful. You know, big kudos to Alexandra and her team for pivoting at the last moment. And, you know, many folks from parks and other divisions and recreation and health, like there were multiple people like who pivoted along with us. And also, you know, Sean from Brookline Green Space Alliance with Mothers Up Front, like there were a number of partners like who were still able to make that date. And on Sunday, you know, again, like it was a smashing success. Like if, you know, you didn't know that it was our rain date, like you wouldn't know that, you know, it was like nothing happened at all. So it was very, very exciting day. And, you know, there was, even with the rain date that had not been like really advertised, like we got like quite a huge number of crowd, like around 500, 600 people. So we also had like a small community planting day as part of that. We had a tree ID walk. And here in this picture, I'll say that, you know, Jack did an amazing job of leading the tree walk, and he and Pete, our forestry foreman, had been up all day and, you know, late into the night the day before cleaning up the storm. So the next day they showed up at 7 a.m. again for SpringFest. So kudos to both of them as well and the entire forestry team. And Stewardship Sundays are also ongoing, you know, to rebuild the trails and removing invasive species right now in Dane Park. And we've already had a few of those and more coming up again. So, you know, it'll be, it'll go on through summer and through fall. Oh, sorry, this is a very pixelated image, but also very excited to share that as I mentioned earlier, that as part of the Health Plaza completion of the construction, we will be planting a pollinator garden in collaboration with the Pollinator Pathway Group. So this will be on Tuesday. I think I had mentioned the date. So the time is 4 to 6 p.m. So again, there will also be ribbon cutting as part of that. So, you know, again, like if you all are around and want to get your hands dirty, please join us. And that's it for me.
Can I mention one thing, if you don't mind? So I just want to clarify on something Millie talked about in the beginning when it came to staffing with our operations manager. I just want to clarify that that's Mike Bartlett that will be leaving us. All of us has known Mike for 10 plus years in town, and he's been a staple at our meetings also across the time. So I just want to clarify in case anybody didn't know his
Thank you,
official
Tim.
title. But Mike unfortunately will be leaving us for another opportunity. So
Boo-hoo.
yeah,
I know.
you're telling
We're
us.
all very devastated about that.
Yeah, that was a shockwave across the entire town, that one.
Mhm.
We're gonna miss
all
him.
Thanks for telling us, Tim.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have an update from Park and Recreation subcommittees. Are we gonna, I have Millie or Tim, are you gonna, are you just I know, I thought that Lauren was gonna say something about Pierce, but she's not here. And in terms of the Community Preservation Act Committee, we're starting the process over again. So we'll, as Millie explained, that'll be happening during the summer, and then we'll get to vote on them in the fall. So they'll come, and then the town meeting in the spring will vote on them as well. Anyone else have something to, Millie, do you have anything to present in terms of the committees or?
No,
Okay.
not on my end today.
And yeah, and I would love to see the Green Dog Committee get up and running again. I don't know if anybody's going to organize that, but I think we have a lot
Yes,
to work to do on that. Right?
absolutely. Definitely on our radar. Sorry, it's like it keeps on getting pushed, but definitely on our radar.
Okay. Any other commissioners have any questions about committees, etc.?
Nope.
Okay, thank you. And so the next is other business. Millie or Tim? Hi, Teresa, you have your hand up and you're muted. Thank you.
Oh, yep.
You're good.
Yeah, I actually have a personal update. I will, my term is expiring in August, and I will not be continuing with the commission at that point. I am actually moving out of Brookline, unfortunately. So this is my second to last gathering with you all, but I just wanted to share that update. My family's actually moving to San Diego for my husband's job, and so it's kind of a huge transition for everybody, but hopefully there's a willing Brookline resident hoping to take my role, and I think a few kiddos will be happy to be back on bedtime schedule once a month every Tuesday as well. But yeah, I will do an official goodbye next month, but I just wanted to make that announcement in case anybody is aware of somebody who's interested in applying for the commission.
Yes,
Teresa, thank you
it
for
will be
letting us know.
hard
Yeah.
to replace Teresa, but
Yeah,
please
I agree.
let people know we'll have an opening. Also, we had set up a luncheon at the Hemlock Grill. Does anybody remember the date, Millie?
I have it in my calendar. I'm gonna, at the end of this meeting, I will send it out to everybody if you'd like to join us for an official send-off.
Right. Thank you.
And then, Debbie, raise your, you got to change the color of your background. Thank
I
you.
will do that. I just had, somebody asked me a question that I didn't have an answer to, was that they said that when the driving range was built, the trees that were removed that were going to be replaced, were they replaced?
I can't answer that question, but I'm happy to find out.
Thank you.
Happy to report back.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other new business? We went over, but it was a robust discussion and we learned a lot. So thank you all. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I'll second it.
Okay, that was Carol who moved it and Jane who seconded.
yep.
So I'm going to have to call, because we're on Zoom, I have to call the roll. Michael,
Yes.
Jane,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes.
Debbie,
Yes.
Teresa.
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Thank you all, and we'll see you in June. No, it is June, in July. Time flies. In July. We'll see you in July.
Nice
Good
to
night,
see
everybody.
everyone.
Thank you.
Have a
Bye,
good night.
everyone. Take
Bye.
care.